Well, I'm finally back at the river after 23 days. It's a little breezy. I'm standing in the shed. We've got 12 rolls of insulation, 6 12-foot 2x4s to build a loft on, some plywood to cover the walls where the bench is going to go, some electric wiring to run through the walls so that we can put the plywood and the insulation in the walls to put the benches up, and a few more 2x4s. If you bought copper lately, you know what the impact is. That roll was $69 plus tax. Well, we're working on putting this door in today. Hopefully we can get it finished. We set this door in the frame. We got 1/8 of an inch at the top and 1/8 of an inch at the bottom. And we dropped down from the top 5 inches for the upper hinge. And at the bottom, we came up 9 inches, marked the width of the hinge, and then we measured from the one end to the other and found the center, and then marked the hinge point there. And with the door in place, and that's the inside of the door, and the hinge will go like that. You see the hinge will go like that. You'll see the hinge from inside. And then I transferred those marks right there, and now I have to chisel out the width of that metal so that that will sit flush and even. And then you put this part on the door, put that on the jamb, pull the pins out, mount your jamb, get it square, put your door in the hinges, and put the pins back in. Another little secret about this is, hopefully you can notice this, that part is moving. See, that part is moving right there, and that part's stationary. So this goes on the door. See, those two go on the jamb. The door's heavy. It wouldn't really matter in a house. And in a house, you'd probably, on a house door, they're hollow, don't weigh anything. You could get away with 2 hinges. This is a heavy solid wood door, so you need 3 hinges, and you need a big heavy-duty hinge, and you mount the side that does not move of the hinge to the door, so it has three points to hold this heavy door times 3 hinges, 9 points, where if you use the other side, you'd only have 6. And this goes on the jamb because it doesn't move, and the jamb is solid and square to the the 2x4s that hold the house together. Well, there's the door, and I've mortised out for the hinges. And what you want to do is you don't come all the way through to this side of the door that'll be exposed to the outside. You leave that little edge. And that way, when the hinge is in there, you don't see the hinge, and the hinge is not exposed to the weather, and nobody sees it from outside. And this is a frame, and you have to lay them out together so that they'll be in the same spot. And I've had to mortise this out with 2 worn out old chisels I had to sharpen on a piece of sandpaper. I took the one side off of the door jamb because I needed to put this together before we hung the door. This way I can just pull the pins this way, that way, and put this board back on that jamb, and put the little board across the bottom to keep it, hold its shape while we put it in the wall. And then we just have to put the door on it and pop the pins in it. And that's what it is when it's sealed at the top against that edge. So you got a good seal all the way down it. But see, you know that the hinge is working good. So all I have to do is pop the pins and put it back together, the jamb together. Well, it's getting late on the East Coast. Still a little daylight out there. It's 10 after 5 on the 20th of February, a Thursday. With a little luck, we can be back maybe Saturday and finish this up. Well, you've got to put a handle on the door, And the handle's usually about 38 inches from the floor to the center. And these deadbolts are run about 5.5 inches above the center of this one. And they give you a template with the instructions in 14 languages. And all you do is crease that piece of paper right there. And see, you can say for a 2 1/4 inch door, 1 3/4 inch door, or 1 3/8 door. This is 1 3/4. So then you would just hold that right there and punch your hole. Like right there, I've got a mark. And I just took a nail and marked through that, and you can mark where the center is up here, and then you come through. And you take a hole saw, and unfortunately this is not a deep one. They make a real deep one to put a door in, because doors are thicker than this is, and it will bottom out. And when it bottoms out, what you have to do is, you've cut this outer edge and it's flat on the center, but it won't go down any further. You can take a small chisel and come in from the other side and pop it with a hammer and put a little something right there. Like we've been using a piece of heavy duty cardboard that the hinges came in, and you'd put it there so that when you pried that up you wouldn't mar your door. And you just do it to get it down lower, so that when you drill through this, the drill bit is longer than the cutting surface, and you do that until the hole comes out underneath, and then you flip it over and drill from the other side, and that way you'll get a uniform hole like that all the way through. And then you have to drill on this one. It's 1 inch. A lot of them are about 3/4, and this lock set is 1 inch diameter, and that's for the locking mechanism and the door shutting pin to slide on. And see, we're going to have a deadbolt on this, so we'll have another hole there just like that. And the deadbolt set will be on one side. And we got these kind of handles because if you came up to the workshop and it was unlocked, and depending on where you put this, you can turn it that way and just push it down with your elbow and open your door, rather than grabbing a knob. Alright, you take these strike plates. This is for the door, and that's for the deadbolt. And what you do is just line them up and center them, and you put this. What I do is put a little hole in there with a nail or something. I use like a 16-penny nail, and I line it up and dimple it each place, and then put the screw in it. And then you take a razor blade knife and outline that. Now, these would be routed out, but we're going to do them with a chisel so they'll be square. There's no way you can really do these square with chisels. And we'll just square that out, take these plates off, and cut down the thickness of that plate, and they'll fit flush. Because right now, with only a small clearance when it opens and shuts, this plate would hit the door jamb. Well, we're getting ready to cut this hole in the shed, and I drilled a hole in each corner. See there? Now we marked it outside, I'll show you in a minute, and we're gonna have to cut down 1.5 inches below the mark, so that 2x4 will be cut out. And you just put one in each corner. I'll show you this one too. And I'll walk down my nice hard ramp, which makes it easy on my legs getting in and out of here. And then outside, there's your holes, and you hold a straight edge, which we used a piece of wood. From the outside edge of that hole to that, went down 1.5 inches below that hole, so we can take that 2x4 out, and we know where to stop cutting. And that will be where the door is. I tried cutting from the inside, and it was just eating into a 2x4, and it's always better to have your cutting material close to the saw, so the blade is working close at the material and not 3.5 inches away, even with the long blade. And I'll come back in here. The magic recip saws, they are the greatest thing on earth. I don't need that longer blade, but it's not going to hurt anything. And see, cutting from outside, you're only cutting from here instead of cutting from here out. And if you haven't seen how these work, they just reciprocate out and in.